Good evening. This is Last Bell Boxing. It's an absolute pleasure to be joined by former IBO World Youth Champion, former Commonwealth Middleweight Champion, and back after 5.5 years out of the ring, Cannonball, Liam Cameron. How are you, mate?
I'm all right, thank you. How's you?
Yeah, really good, really good. So, a lot's gone on, mate, isn't it? I want to take you right back, if that's all right. For people that are on our channel that have not heard from you, might not know who you are. They must have been living under a rock if that's the case. But let's take you right back to the very start, mate. Am I right in thinking that you first went in the gym at 8?
Yeah, you're right.
What was that like as a little kid? What was that experience like?
Do you know what it was like? I always loved boxing. Well, no, I didn't always love boxing. My nan Margaret, got me these Rocky videos, and I borrowed her from her house. And my mum and dad never showed me the Rockies, so I watched them. Then I just thought I'd love to do that. I don't know why, because it looked bad. Rocky got hammered, didn't he, all the time? So,
Yeah, he did, yeah.
I must have been something crazy for me to say, I want to do that. So then there were a gym, and I went to it and loved it.
So was that your first memory of boxing then, watching Rocky films?
Yeah, I used to have this little, well, it weren't little, it were a big teddy bear, and I used to hook its arms around the bunk bed, and I used to hammer it. And sometimes, if you weren't accurate, you'd miss and hit the bars. And my first memory, I guess who walked me into it. It were obviously my relations was training down at Dave Caldwell's gym, and
right.
The guy what opened the door for me and my mum was Jerome Wilson.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing, mate. I mean, at that age, I mean, you perhaps don't remember like the very early part, but you're not allowed to spar till a certain age, are you?
No, but I remember everything. Anything to do with boxing, I remember anything.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you? So I ask this a lot to fighters, and I get loads of different responses. What was your feeling when you first got punched? When you first got punched in the face? Some fighters say they absolutely loved it and they couldn't wait to get more, or other fighters say they absolutely hated it and it took them a while to get used to it.
So what happened with me? We did a lot of footwork, body sparring, bags. So I was doing a lot of that. Then I can remember there's a man called Gordon from Retford. He's like well established over there, and we went to spar when I was very young with one of their lads, and I got a bit lucky, I popped kid's nose and he started crying. So I think I was a bit lucky to do that. So I went back to school next day and tell everyone I had one amateur fight, won it in first round stoppage. So that would I always lied about it until I obviously had my first real fight.
Tell me a little bit about your amateur career. You've got some really great names on there. The likes of Scott Cardle, Tommy Langford, Callum Smith.
Dudley O'Shaughnessy.
Yeah. What's your memories of your amateur days?
I don't want to say a little fat kid, but I was a little chubby kid. What last on track. Weren't really athletic kid, to be fair.
Right.
I've always been tough, like a tough kid. So my first memories of it, I can't relate it. It's a bit far back, but I can remember it being good. So I had my first fight at 11, and do you know what it is then? I think it's more brutaler then, because I think as everyone gets younger and younger, we get softer. Because I can remember getting a phone call. Well, I didn't get a phone call. I'd get him from school, and my mum and dad would go, "You're fighting tonight," and I'd go, "All right, then where that? Oh, so and so's gonna pick you up. you're boxing at so and so place in Sheffield. But I can remember not being bothered. It was like, yeah, no worries. And I
Really?
don't think people are like that now. I think it has to be
No.
matched for weeks and stuff.
Yeah.
And
It's
like
all.
even like the boxing side of things, I used to spar with no gum shield or red guard
No
until I was
way.
pro, until I was professional. Honestly,
You're joking?
no wraps or anything.
Oh
My
man!
first pro 20 fights, I had a shock doctor gum shield.
Wow.
So I don't know. I think that like now I went to an amateur show and a kid got a punch in and they stopped the fight and they were only a
Yeah.
young kid and that kid were heartbroken. So I can remember thinking, is that good for boxing? Because the kid's going to go back and think he's going to get battered. The kid were in a right state that he got stopped. And me personally, I didn't think he should have got stopped.
Right.
And now they trigger happy now with these counts in amateur boxing. Maybe it's because of what has happened, but at least like
Yeah.
make
They're always trying to look at ways. Well, they think to make the sport safer, but sometimes it's a real detriment, isn't it?
yeah. If the kid wants to box, it's not an easy sport, so you have to be
No.
prepared to have a few hits. You have to, aren't you?
Absolutely, mate.
You're picking that as your job. You're not going to a football match. You're picking boxing here, so it has to be. It has to be a boxing match. It does have to, and it has to sometimes be a bit hard
It does.
for
Yeah. Yeah.
either person.
Agreed, mate. Moving on to your pro career. Am I right in thinking that you turned pro at 19?
18.
18, okay. Um, and it wasn't long, I think a couple of years, 3 years, before you got your first area title fight.
Yeah.
That obviously didn't go quite according to plan. And it was you ended up in a very, very narrow loss against Jez Wilson.
Jez
You
Wilson.
know these area title fights, Liam.
Yeah.
I sit and watch a lot of I sit and go to a lot of small hall shows, and I love area title fights. I think they're brilliant. English title fights, they're really well matched. One thing that I can't get my head around is the fact that you're fighting for a belt, but the referee's the only person scoring the fight.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because to be fair, back then tickets were £60 ringsides.
Right.
So for you to generate a wage, I can remember exactly what I got for that fight. And I'm gonna touch up on some after. What happens is the promoter puts £3,000 into the pot that's split down middle. Then whatever you do in tickets. So just say for instance, you're not going to just 160s at that time. So
No.
the normal ones were 30 quid. So even 130 quid tickets is £3,000 in it. So what do you get out of that? Just say you got 50-50. That's only three. That's £3,000 tops you're getting for a central area. And do you know what the one thing I regret is when I went pro, obviously I had GB on my back. They were honestly, I want best fighter at tournament. They were on my back to go into this Olympic squad. And what it is, to be fair, when I won them ABAs, I just winged it. It, went in and won it, and won it easy. I was stopping the likes of Tommy Langford. I stopped him, getting about 3 counts. Scott Cardell beat him 10-0. Then I beat Dudley O'Shaughnessy like 25-3. Now, back in the day, there used to be an art class rule where you've stopped him. So I had Barry Earn wanting to sign me. I had the GB wanting to keep me on, and obviously it were down the road from me. On the Olympic squad, the podium squad, that means it's the best one. So then I got not blagged, but brainwashed because I'm a young kid. I fought for free.
Yeah.
So when I had a promoter blag me to turn pro in Sheffield, what really messed my career up, because I got offered £1,000 a round without selling tickets off these major promoters, and this guy said he were going to match it. I didn't go in with no paperwork or anything on paper. Signed it as I'm a vulnerable kid, 18-year-old, don't know what is. And I did 6 grand's worth of tickets, and I come out with 1,400 quid my first pro fight.
Shocking! It's shocking, mate. Isn't
I
it?
can remember getting the wage slip, and I sat crying because I thought I've worked so hard for this. And the losses, and I know people might think I'm making excuses. I don't need to lie. The losses are I just couldn't get up for. I'd worked so hard, even for my pro fights. My fourth pro fight, you're talking at ABA British. I was European number 2, and I got £500 to fight in Jersey, and this is not Jersey in America, Jersey in the Channel Islands. 500 quid. How can I, a lad what works, trains 3 times a day, sparring all up best fighters, and fund my career and my health and my happiness? It just proper got hold of me every fight until I finally lost. And it were only till I were always a nearly man in pros, and I got an opportunity where I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to keep me all. If I lose this fight, I'm going to pack in. And I ended up boxing Sam Sheedy and stopping him. And my own manager didn't want me to win because I was managed by both fighters.
Oh, really?
He was devastated when I won.
That was your Commonwealth title win, wasn't it?
Yeah, I weren't expected to win. Then I defended it and stopped the kid in the second round.
That was Nick Gemman.
Yeah.
And then that's where things went a bit wrong.
It very went wrong, yeah.
So, for people that don't know about this, obviously you go into this fight, you stop the kid in 2 rounds. You then, as happens for title fights, you go in and you have to take a drug test afterwards. And then how long is it before you know the results of that test?
So I think I fought April 25th. April 25th. So what happened is, by my manager, he told me, look, I have to take £1,000 out of your purse. He went, it's to pay for UCAD. So cut long story short, I knew 8 weeks before I was getting a drug test. So I thought, hey, £1,000. So I thought, you know what? It is what it is. I'm champion. I'm going to get bigger and better things. Beat this kid. Then other things. But my manager at the time wanted me to box on his shows. He won't. I got offered on Frank Warren's. He wouldn't let me do it. Then I knew there were going to be a drug test. I knew everything. And little did I know, after when I had the meetings with UCAD, it's all funded UCAD. You don't pay into
No, you don't. No.
And I've got receipts where I've signed that I've paid for UCAD for £1,000.
Oh, no way.
So I'm like, wow. I'm trying to fight my legal battle saying I've paid for a drug test. I've got it in receipt. And UCAD are saying, well, that's receipts wrong because we don't charge £1,000. So I'm thinking, I'm getting ripped all over place here. And you know what it were with me test? People think it were cocaine what I got done for. I weren't. It could have been a bad kidney infection, liver infection, but the worst case, it was 7 things. You can Google it. You can put the name on what it was. I can't even pronounce it. But the worst case scenario is cocaine. And it was 25 nanograms. So you've got milligrams, you've got nanograms, milligrams, and grams. Mine were 25 nanograms. So it wasn't classed as a performance enhancing.
No, it's because it's not.
Because it's not.
No, I mean the nanograms. You're talking That's something that if that was on a table, you wouldn't see it.
That's what they said you could. But I needed proof of ingestion. And I'm like, do I carry a GoPro camera with me 24/7? There's obvious facts. When you count, right, I'll show you something now. If you look at my finger there, that way, can I get it? Is that
Yeah,
finger sore? Sore, in it. I've
yeah,
got an habit of biting my fingers, and that's
right.
that's really sore. I've
Yeah, I can
got an
see it.
habit
Yeah,
of biting my skin. So it only takes a lick off a note, and you've got it in your system.
I was
And
about to say. So for people that don't know small oil, and the way small oil goes, you go about small oil. For you to earn any money,
like, yeah,
and for you to get a
$16.
fighter, you have to sell tickets.
Yeah,
You haven't got a secretary going around collecting money in. You've got to go around people knocking on people's doors, handing tickets over, and taking money off them.
yeah. I've
So
worked so hard
that
because
that
I went to
that
Australia, and I went to Australia, fought for £12,000 against the reigning IBO world champion, WBC silver. He had 24-0 and 22 knockouts, and I
wow.
fought him. And like, I'm not gonna work this hard. They say it went in my system 4 days before fight. Why would I have it 4 days before fight?
No,
If I were
no.
gonna have it, I would have had it after, wouldn't I?
Exactly, mate. And with it being as minute as it is, I mean, there's been some really high-profile drug fails recently.
Yeah.
Fighters that are boxing. They've got a failed drug test hanging over them in the boxing. You've got another fighter. I don't really want to bring names up because that's not fair. But you've got another fighter that's still an undisputed champion.
And
Still got belts.
the best on it, my band kicked up a fuss online. The UCAS now changed their rule where if you get done for cocaine, it's a maximum 3-month ban. That's
That's
another
crazy. And you
thing
got
that's
and you got
killed them.
4 years.
Got 4 years. They've changed it after my ban.
Yeah, that's absolutely nuts. The worst thing about it is it's not a performance enhancer. It's not going to help you in the ring.
Definitely not.
And it was that minute that it could have come from anywhere.
It weren't. I'll have to. I'd meaning to get papers. Like it's not a. They say it's not a snortable. It's not a snortable amount.
It's no way. It's virtually invisible, isn't it? That's how
Yeah,
small it is.
yeah.
So you
Plus,
tried to appeal.
the test was done in an ice skates public toilet.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh man, absolute nightmare. So obviously, you're in a position where you've known boxing since you were 8 years old. You've been in a gym since you were 8 years old. You get to a point where you get this ban, and they don't only ban you for 4 years. But am I right in thinking that you were told you weren't allowed in a gym?
Right. I weren't allowed in a boxing gym training. I weren't allowed to train fighters. I weren't allowed to spar and make money. I was basically allowed to go in a fitness gym.
That's
Then
ridiculous.
I got a letter of threatening saying if they get another report and they'll investigate, I'll get 8 years. So that were 4, I'd 4. And I'm not lying. It's what it is. I think
How
it's
do you thing is
30%.
Liam, you're in a position where you're not on a massive promote. You want with a massive promoter, so you've not got all this millions backing you to fight legal cases and to go and find independent doctors and independent scientists to prove your innocence. Did you feel like you was left a little bit in the wilderness by the boxing business?
Yeah. There's like fighters from Sheffield what could have shouted my name, but they never did. But I ranked professionals and they never did. I don't owe them no, and they don't owe me out. But come on, it's. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's not good. But I'm back to where I'm back to where it all started, Steel City Gym, and I'm a year in now. training twice a day, sparring. I was 128 kilo. I'm now 83 kilo. Quit alcohol and had a drink for 13 months. And I'm on a good. I had stage 2 blood pressure, and I'm on a good path. I'm happy.
Mate, it's been an amazing turnaround.
Yeah.
The difference from I saw some of those social media photos of when you were in quite a dark place at the time. You've come such a long way. It's inspirational, really. I mean, you had that first fight. You had that first fight back in October.
Yeah.
Back on the GBM card, and I don't mind saying, mate, I was backstage as you were getting ready to go out. You look quite nervous.
Do you think?
Yeah. Did you not feel it? Did you not feel nerves?
I can't say I weren't not nervous. I just didn't think I just couldn't believe I was boxing. I didn't really. I can't say I was nervous. I might have looked it to you, but I just couldn't gather that I was actually boxing because I never thought I'd box again.
Amazing experience, though, and you've just touched on touched on Pierce Goodrin and Grant Smith from Steel City. What have they done for you since you've decided to come back?
Well, they've done a lot for me. Pierce has stuck by me every day, training me. Grant's helped me. There's Brian Smith. He's like the granddad at gym. I've known these since I were 9-year-old. They live on my estate. Do you know what I mean? Give me a key for gym. Said come when you want, and it just started from there. And I'm now training a fighter. It's Grant and Brian's paid for me boxing license, my professional boxing license. So yeah, as soon as I've had this fight, hopefully a couple of pros might come on. But I'm happy just with one at minute because I've got a fighter called Bree Wright, and listen, goosebumps are good cheers. And I know if people might say it, but I took us well. She took me sparring Natasha Jonas in her car, and we've been up about 6 times now, and every time she spars, she just got better and better and better, and she listens, and I'm proud of her as well because for trusting me, and it's good, brilliant.
Oh, that's great stuff, mate. The fact that you can add back to the sport when you've been through what you've been through tells you a lot about your character.
I do a funny thing. What's happened today? So I do a kids class for kindness in my heart. Didn't think no of it. I've been doing it for about 8 months, I'd say. So I keep doing it. So there's a guy called Jay in what brings his kids, and there's a guy Yasin what brings his kid called Sam. And these are really good kids, so I keep teaching them religiously. I do this kids class twice a week. And they've sponsored me today, give me some money, and I ain't really had much sponsorship. I've had Choky, my friend, he's paid for my medicals, and my mate Ibs, dentist. And for someone to give me money, it means a lot. We're nearly crying. I told my tears back, and I'm not really I'm like to think myself as an odd man, but I nearly crying because I couldn't believe someone would do that for me. I don't get nothing, do you know what I mean? So someone to do that for me, it means a lot.
Well, that needs to change, mate. We need to get you some proper sponsorships.
Yeah.
I'll make sure this goes out to a lot of people in Sheffield. Local Sheffield companies need to be getting behind you, I think.
That's it.
Let's make that happen, mate. Let's get on Twitter and make it happen.
I just think to myself, if I be a nice lad and give back and be kind, I'll get some goodness back. And today's really showing it. I'm like, my dad.
Yeah, dead right, mate.
My dad's always said to me, "Be nice, and you'll get it back." And I've been trying to give it to loads back, and I've got something back today, and I'm right happy.
Oh, that's great, mate. Just before I let you go, last one. Let's talk about your upcoming fight, Feb the 9th. Back on the GBM card at the Cannon Medical Arena, I think it's called, in Sheffield. Yeah, purpose built. Strange, that isn't it? Purpose built arena. It's fantastic there, and I think it looks like GBM are going to make it their home.
Yeah.
The first show they put on there was fantastic, and it'll only get better. Little word for GBM and Izzy Asif, because they're doing big things, right?
Yeah. Do you know what it were? Because I went boxing, I knew Izzy spoke to me, and he went, "I've got this management company now," and you know what I thought? Oh, here we go again. Trying to plug another one at it, trying to rip people off. And he's done well, you know. He been good with me. He's not put a foot wrong. The shows are amazing, high quality, and the fights are great, and the people what are on it are
yeah, absolutely
a good talent, and we need talent coming through in Sheffield, and it's great to see what he's doing. There's all different gyms. There's Steel City, Roger Sampson's, what are fighting from there. There's Riley's, there's Ingles. Now I feel a bit of a daft twat because I'm going to miss someone out now. So, but that's what it is.
I'm sure they'll forgive you.
Yeah.
Liam, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, mate. I want you back on the show as soon as possible. Let's get this fight out of the way and get you something big.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for joining Last Ball Boxing, mate. Much appreciated.
No worries.